Good morning, beautiful beings. Sorry, I'm all sort of been out in the cold. It's chilly today, so I feel like being inside. And my phone is behaving. I've still got to get a new one, but that is my very strong intention. So today, we get to go live in the old fashion. I thought I'd just be a frozen face on my laptop screen. But no, I'm here. And we're inside. Mike, it's you. Good morning. Surprise, I'm not frozen yet. So we've got rocks. And this is my anything rock, or my everything rock, and I'm really fond of this one because it's got so much in it. Obviously, these are quartz points right there. You can see the six-sided point there, and but that's not. This is calcite. So yeah, there's quartz. But as I said, I'll sort it out, Maddie. No, this is another quartz point. It's just been broken, like that's a broken face, and this piece here is very definitely calcite. You can see that sort of plate-like look that calcite has. It's glorious. And then all of this green sparkly stuff is called epidote, and there's lots of that. And there's some hematite here. This is kind of dark red hematite in the quartz. And I don't know what this brown stuff is, but it's probably some form of iron as well. G'day, Sing Marie! Yay, my phone's working today. I'm so grateful. And there's a mystery here. See these blades of blue? We don't know what those are. So that's why I call this my anything rock. But I'm fond of it because it is so much everything. So that's our first rock for the day. Next, we have, this is a little piece from my friend Jenny Polo, who has loaned me some more of her fabulous, really unusual and interesting rocks. And this one has a little label on the back. It is cadmium smithsonite from Sumeb in Namibia. So of course it's from Africa. Yeah, I'm happy it's working now, Sang. No guarantees it'll keep doing it, but I'm enjoying the moment. I am getting a new phone. Well, a second-hand phone, a pre-loved one. I don't want a new one. Bye, it's you. Yay! It's great to see you, honey. So this is cadmium smithsonite. And let's try and, yes, so you can see it's got these funny shaped crystals, which are this beautiful orange yellow, and that's all I know about it. I don't know what makes it that colour, but we know it's from Namibia. And it's beautiful. So there we go. That's our little interesting new rock on sleepover. Kelly, it's lovely to see you. G'day. Last but not least, because we're still in Rockland, this one said, I want to come on today. Andrew, good morning. And well, quartz, right? Pyramid. And this is Chinese quartz. It's not Brazilian quartz. Such a lot of quartz. At least, I don't know about now, but back in the day, when I can remember when the first crystal shop in Wellington was this big deal because there was only one, and it was a retail shop, and you walked into it and poked the crystals. And now, of course, everybody buys online, and everything comes from everywhere. But this is Chinese quartz. Back in those days, just about all the quartz came from Brazil. It's like, you mean there's Brazil somewhere else? Yeah! So here it is. And I love this. It came with, it's much bigger. See that point there? That sharp point up there, that is a big 7 kilo polished quartz point, also probably from the same mine, definitely from China, and I got the two together after I missed that one's 50 kilogram big brother. God, back in those days. Oh, Martina, you're all good because I've only just started. Relax. I always do a few rocks and then I get into the topics. So your timing is perfect, honey. So I'm just enjoying the rocks because it gives people a chance to come on and settle and go, oh, there's something pretty, and stop paying attention to whatever else that, is going on. And just enjoy something because beauty helps us kind of elevate. And I like this. So there you go. So today's topic, yeah, it is about overcoming betrayal, and I'm actually doing this because I made a friend connection yesterday with a lovely man called Denny, and he knows who he is. And he was asking a question on his page. He's very talented. He makes movies. He does all kinds of awesome things, and he asks good questions. And the thrust of the question was, if trust has been broken even if that person sorts their shit out, how come we still feel sort of all weird about it, and you can't get that connection back? What's the deal with that? And I thought that was a really good question, because we get our hearts broken, and then you think, and it's not just I can't trust other people. Now it's like I can't trust myself. I can't trust myself to know who to trust. What the hell, and you just get locked in this problem. You just get locked in this thing where your heart's hurt, you're shut down, and that's kind of it. Even when you want to let somebody in, you can't, because the fear is still there and you're stuck in the past, and it's painful. So let me talk about how that actually works, because I love the science of this. Don't turn off because I said science. It's liberating when you understand how it works. So facts are awesome, Faye. I love facts. Facts are not everything. Things that we can measure and understand, that have been researched and worked out, they're not everything, but they give us a platform on which to build and to do things that are not yet understood, but we have our feet on higher ground. So, facts. When you have a powerfully emotional experience, be it good or bad, but we're talking about something that's essentially trauma, otherwise why would you have a problem with trusting, When you have a traumatic experience, or you have repeated little ongoing betrayals and it builds up, it's like repeat insult. The stronger the emotional quotient of the experience you're having, and anybody who listens to Dr. Joe Dispenza's knows that I have been listening to him, because this is how he says it, and it's true. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. The stronger the emotional quotient of the experience you have, the more you notice that you're changed inside yourself, right? Oh my God, that hurts. You have noticed that you're changed inside. And so what the brain does is it says, oi, there's been a change in the chemical continuity in this body. I better look outside of me to see what caused it. You hit your finger with a hammer, you're going to associate pain with hammers. That's just what the brain does by association. And that's useful, because if it hurts, we want to avoid it next time. We want to do better next time. So the brain learns by experience, and it says, oi, this is a good thing to stay away from. Now, the stronger the emotional component of any experience, the more the brain pays attention, makes a record, and says, we've got to look out for all of this. And if the bit that you're conscious of is like a tiny, tiny proportion of the whole experience, the brain records it all. You're only conscious of a little bit. Now, when the brain gets all of that information and records it, what happens in the brain is that neurons string together. They do. They actually make connections, new connections, because in those new connections, for those connections to happen, you need neurotransmitters, and the neurotransmitters, there's a chain of reaction that means you get chemistry in your body, so that now your body is feeling exactly the way you were just thinking. This is what happens. So you make the neural connection, the chemistry flows. Thought, feeling, stimulus, response, memory, emotion. Right? Doesn't matter now whether you have just had the experience and you are going, oh my God, this is happening and I feel like this. Or 20 years later, you fire up the same neural net and you get the same chemistry, and it's like, oh my God, it's like it happened yesterday. That's why. As far as your body's concerned, it's right now, because it's the same chemistry. So that's the first thing to understand about how trauma is so powerful and stays real to us. Is because every time you think about it, talk about it with your friends, remember it yourself, see a picture of that person, smell something that reminds you of them, hear a sound that you don't even consciously know reminds you of them, go someplace that you're not even thinking about that person, but that place in some way reminds you of them, because remember, your brain has got all that stuff stored, and it only takes one small thing to remind you of the time when you hit your hand with the hammer. And either subconsciously or consciously, you're going to be remembering that, and, oh, I better pull my hand back. And we do it unconsciously because the brain is trying to protect us. So what happens is, because of all those stimuli in your environment and your own memory, and the fact that as humans, we have the capacity to make our memories as real as so-called real life. absolutely is real. From the body's point of view, it doesn't matter. It feels the same. So the body is, and if you have a traumatic thing and you keep on thinking and thinking and thinking and feeling and feeling and feeling about it, you're just there all the time. All the time. You just get locked in it, right? And this is how we literally, physically, neurologically, biochemically, and energetically, emotionally get stuck in the past. That is how it happens. Your body is literally there. And that's exactly what's going on, Martina. That you are consciously making choices and doing your best to move on and everything. And there are stimulus in the external environment that fire up the neural net in your head, which by now, however long it's been, has gotten really enriched, because every time we think about it and having your experience of it, that makes the neural net bigger in your brain. Now, don't freak out. This is just normal. Don't think this is the end of the road and there's no way out. But this is what happens. I want you to understand why this is so difficult. And because we can think, oh, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get over this? What, have I not got enough will? Am I weak? Am I gutless? No, this is why. Because by the time you finish thinking about it and reviewing it and remembering it and dreaming about it and wishing good things and bad things and whatever else for that person, it's really become conditioned in your body at a cellular level. And here's the really kicker part of it. Because it's not what's wrong with you, honey. It's just what's happened. Please take that judgment off it. It's not what's wrong with you. It's just what's happened. So, the thought that you keep thinking and the chemistry that keeps pouring, it becomes like taking, having sugar every day, or having alcohol every day, or having drugs every day. Those stress hormones are highly addictive. They really are. Because even if it's a rush of feeling miserable, when you have that, oh God, that hurts so much, there's actually a rush of chemistry that goes to your body and it wakes you up. It does. It's not a nice waking up, but it's, oh my God. Well, people who are angry all the time, they have to think about that person or that situation that pisses them off so they can get that rush of energy and feel alive. Because if they don't have that rush of energy to feel alive because they're angry, they kind of don't know how to feel. So I don't think I've explained that terribly well. But the piece I want you to get is that our cells literally become accustomed to the chemistry of our habitual thinking and feeling. Habitual feeling, right? Thoughts are the language of the brain, feelings are the language of the body. When you keep thinking the same thought, your body gets the same message. And it gets used to it, and then it starts to expect it. And enough said. That's why it's so hard to change. That's why you get locked in there. You do need change. We all need change. Trust me, I'm breaking these kinds of things inside myself all the time. So, that is how we get stuck. And that's why when someone else comes along that you want to let in your life, or you just want to move on, that's why it's so very difficult. Because by the time you're done thinking about it and think, I need something else, and yeah, you do make your body sick because the stress hormones make you sick, right? Enough said. Let's not focus on that. You're ready to move on, but your body is saying, I'm used to this. This is my normal now. I'm going to keep this the way it is, thank you very much, because I don't want to have to modify the receptors on the outside of my cells again. I did that for you before. But here's the thing. If your body did do that before, if it did modify its receptors to get used to your betrayal feelings and your stress hormones and all of that stuff, it does mean that you have the capacity to change that again. Because, neuroplasticity, right? You made a huge neural net in your head about how awful it was and how much it hurt. And it did, and it was. I'm not saying any of that isn't justified. The problem is it just, it still does that thing to you, which you don't like anymore. So you spent time having the experience and building that neurological net. Neuroplasticity says that it doesn't matter what the neurological net is, you built it from scratch, or you inherited it sometimes. Hi, Jen! But even inherited neurological nets, you can undo. If it's fired together and wired together, then you can unfire it and unwire it. So it is possible to change. And I know, because I'm breaking very old habits of being myself. And it's happening. Andrea! It is wicked, isn't it? It happened to me yesterday, honestly. 2 stimuli in the environment. Boom! I was back in high beta, and I know what high beta feels like. I want to crawl out of my skin. I can't relax. I can barely think. I was totally in survival. It was really unpleasant, and I didn't have an opportunity to just... But eventually, I got outside on the lawn, and I just opened my focus. Because I knew my brain was like an orchestra where everybody's playing to their own rhythm. It was complete cacophony in there. So let me talk a little bit about how you change this. In 5 minutes, she says. Cut the blue wire, right? Boom. That's what happened to me yesterday, Andrew, I tell you. It was painful. I do know what this feels like, at least in my own world. So, when you've made that neurological net, you've had the experience, it's been highly emotionally charged, and you've thought about it a lot. So here's the good news and the journey. You have to create a new neural net in your head that you have to think about a lot, and you've got to have lots of good feelings about it. Now, but you're probably thinking, but I've got all this other shit in my head, and I'm so used to feeling the bad feelings, and you know what? But the thing about that is, there's a thing in the brain called neural growth factor, and it's like super glue, or miracle grow, to use Joe's words, for neurons. And you know, in one of his workshops, he shows you action slides of neurons with neural growth factor and without. And the ones without are sort of just, oh yeah, whatever. And the others are like, they're really busy because they've got all this good stuff going on. So, but there's a limited amount of neural growth factor in your brain. So whatever synaptic connections are being made and being enriched and being used have got that stuff in there. But if you persistently and consistently, suppress is the word, and it doesn't mean ignore. It means you turn it down, you lower the volume to that thought, to that feeling, and you have to replace it with something else. Because we can't not think, and we can't not feel. It's just a question of what we are going to think and what we are going to feel. So, you're recognizing it is great, Andrew. That's so awesome, because that's the suppression and process. You're no longer unconscious. You're no longer just thinking, I feel like shit because of X, Y, Z. You're thinking, oh my God, I feel like shit. I need to change it. Woohoo! So the key thing is, if you're going to make a new neural net with new emotions, you first need to know what that is. And it can be very, very hard to think, okay, what will I feel like when I am so far beyond this feeling of betrayal or pain or depression or anger or whatever it is, that I don't even remember it? That can be very hard to do. But ask yourself that question. If I am down the track, 10 years from now, when this is in my past and I don't even think about it anymore, who am I? How do I live? How do I feel? What do I do? What do I say? What do I think? And here's the really important part. That's very important. But another very important part is, what do I not say? What thoughts do I not think? What things do I not do? Because as much as you know who you don't want to be, that's the old neural net in your head that you got to unfire and unwire. And if you keep on making choices not to use those synapses, and that doesn't mean you're never going to use them. It just means, like Andrea said, when you notice it, you think, oh my God, I've been feeling like shit for the last 6 hours. I got to stop this. Now hang on a minute. Who do I want to be again? Who is that person that I can barely remember? Because we don't just have to remember our past. We can actually remember our future. And you don't know who it is. And Martina, I know what this is like, because I remember trying to imagine myself abundant. And it was like what? And really what was going on in my head was, oh, piss off. Don't even think about that. It's so freaking impossible. It can't happen. It's never going to happen. Don't go there, because it's so painful. That's what was happening inside me. And so I've had to learn and understand that when I move through my knee-jerk internal reactions, and by the way, those thoughts are also my body saying, don't you mess with my chemical continuity. I like it the way it is. The body always resists the unknown. And so for you, feeling safe and like you can open your heart is unknown because you found that it was dangerous to have people, close to you. So you closed your heart. That's how you survived. The body's saying, thank you very much. I'm going to stay like this. It's safe here. Piss off. Don't suggest any change. That's why we feel so much resistance, even to the idea of beginning to imagine and speculate about who we want to be. It is that moment of decision that Dr. Joe speaks of, and it's over and over and over and over and over and over and over, let that just keep going. There is the moment when you finally decide, I'm done with this. I don't care what it takes. I don't care what I feel. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care what I have to do. I've got to change. And it's like we stop making excuses for ourselves. And you can't even force yourself to that moment either. And what's interesting, I hear him talk about that a lot, Jocelyn, and I really don't have one. Although there is a point in time where I did draw a line and I said, enough. It was just about how I was doing business, and it's like, screw that, I'm not doing that anymore. I remember that decision. I don't know the time, I don't know the place, but, I remember that. So, Martina, that is the place to start. If you feel like you are enough, and let me give you a different word, because not enough is really wide in your brain. If you feel whole, if you feel connected with something, and I'm going to say something outside of you that's bigger than you, that loves you, and please don't call it God, because people have all kinds of stuff going on in their head about God, right? That word has all kinds of crap on it. So just something bigger than you that loves you. So if you feel whole, if you feel accepted, if you feel safe, choose your words. Change your icon. Stop putting your energy into the sad faces, because that's the habit. As long as you keep doing that, that's who you are. So who are you when you hit the care button? Who are you when you can even begin to imagine what it's like to feel loved? Who are you? What do you have to change? You see, you have to stop hitting the sad button and hit the care button or the love button. It's really simple things that we're so unconscious of, but that's what we have to do. We have to get conscious of how we are being this sad, betrayed, hurt person, and start working out, and it's a very thoughtful process. But this is the first step. You've got to actually know who you want to be. And once you know that, then you can start taking steps to go from one place to the other. And I talk about that a lot. And this guy, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he teaches people how to do this. And he's taught me how to do this. And it's totally changed me. And Martina, I'm so with you. I don't know how it feels, but I do know how painful it is. Because I know what my own pain feels like. And I know what my own feels like. So I'm sending you love. And I'm sending love to everybody who is facing up to themselves and thinking, oh God, this is so hard. Because we can change. Because if I did it and I'm doing it, so can you. And it's Friday and I'm so grateful to be with you. I know what I wanted to say. I finally remembered. If you find what I do useful, would you please drop a review on my page? I really appreciate that. It just helps me have credibility with people who are thinking, who the hell is this person? They can go to the reviews and say, oh, okay, apparently she's quite useful. Oh, excellent, you've got the Supernatural book. Yeah, it's so cool. That was a book that changed my life. Becoming Supernatural. Really good book to read. Actually, Martina, you'd find it really useful because it starts with a great story about a lady who experienced an enormous betrayal, got stuck in it, and then she turned her life around. It took her some time, but she did it. And then he tells you how. So, I'm way out of time. It's Friday, whatever. Big love. I'm so glad I got to go live on my phone today. I will see you again next week. Look out for the resonant replays over the weekend. And until we meet again, much love. Bye-bye.